Welcome to the newest episode of the process of fat loss, where our goal is to help you understand the best way to lose fat and live a healthier life. Join us as we discuss some of the toughest and most valuable topics in health and fitness. Today, we are going to be discussing strategies to help you keep moving forward toward your health and fitness goals, even during the craziness that is summer. Specifically, we're going to look at healthy eating and give you some specific practical steps that you can apply right away. This is something that we all struggle with, but if you are prepared and making the right decisions can be a lot easier. I'm going to hand it over to Trevor to get us started.
All right, guys, summer is a lot like the holiday season when it comes to food. People get very lackadaisical during the summer months, and they kind of lose sight of their overall goals that they had planned on, especially at the beginning of the year. I think one thing that we got to think about before we even start down that road is like you should chunk your goals into quarters at least, more than just a whole year of the goal, because it's too far away. So make sure you're chunking them down into goals. So it's good to have a year. So it's tough to have a good year of weight loss if you take the entire summer months off. Plus, you add the 6 to 8 weeks around the holidays. So that's like probably 4 months of the year, 5 months of the year that you're completely taking off from nutrition. So you definitely have to make sure that you don't take the entire summer off or any time during the summer, really. So today we're going to give you some strategies to overcome the main summer obstacles that our clients run into.
All right, so here's how we're going to go through this today. I'm going to go over a few summer events or activities that we find a lot of our clients participate in, and then Trevor's going to give some specific strategies and action steps to how to kind of overcome any obstacles you have during those events or activities. So the first thing is barbecues. What are some strategies we can go to going into barbecues?
So each one of the ones we're going to talk about, three main categories. It's going to be alcohol, meals/snacks, and desserts, right? So that's going to be a lot that fit into each single category. So I'm going to break them up into each one of those. The first one's going to be alcohol for barbecues. This is a big thing. People do a lot of drinking during barbecues. So we got to be very smart about how we do that. The first thing to think about is you don't have to drink during a barbecue. It's not required by law for you to do that. So just remember that, like, your goals are your goals and nobody else's goals. So be okay with just drinking a can of Zevia if you want to have something that's not water. Drinking a bottle of water, you're outside, it's hot, people are going to understand that. So one of our tips is actually take our electrolyte drink, so our Element, or we have another one coming out here soon of GCP ones, but take our electrolyte drink, mix it together with a vodka, so vodka is a lot lower calorie. This will keep your calories low, and then it'll help replenish you with electrolytes. Now, it doesn't outdo all the alcohol you're putting in your system, but at least we're getting some good electrolytes, keeping ourselves more hydrated during that time. It's super sweet, it tastes good, and the vodka keeps our calorie range down. And also you're out in the sun, and electrolytes help with that. Drink have 2 drinks maximum, and move on to some type of water. So, this really matters on what you're drinking, right? Try to stick to a low-calorie beer if possible if you're drinking beer, but try to keep those as low as possible. And then move on to a water bottle. Most people aren't going to realize that you're moving over to a water bottle or even care because it's hot outside, you're at a barbecue. Don't worry about that too much. I do think people worry way too much about the social pressure, and most other people really don't care if you're drinking. And if they do care you're drinking, that's on them, not on you. So, don't worry about that too much. The best part about barbecues are the meals. And the awesome part is most of the meals in the barbecue are focused around meat. And we're a meat business, right? We focus on animal-based food. So it's awesome to take advantage of this. Have a steak, have some burgers, have nitrate-free hot dogs and brats. Go crazy on these. Eat until you're full. Try to eat these earlier in the barbecue to make sure you're full so you're not drinking as much. If you eat a lot of meat, I'm talking about 3 or 4 burgers, throw a little cheese on top of those. No buns. We don't get the buns. You don't get to have the buns on them. You're going to use sugar-free ketchup and mustards to keep them on the lower side of calories. But you can eat a lot of meat at this time and feel full. Another great thing is fruit. Fruit is usually on display. They have it all over the place at barbecues. That's an awesome thing. Take advantage of it. A lot of people bring a fruit dish, scoop some of that out, have a big couple slices of watermelon as well. Watermelon literally has so low calories, you can get away a ton of it. You'll be full eating it. Throw that together with some meat and you'll have an amazing meal. So take advantage of those things at this. The food is the best part about the barbecue in terms of health purposes and just enjoyable purposes. So just make sure you're really concentrating on getting a lot of meat and fill up during a barbecue. Take advantage of good food. Dessert. So dessert is one of those, because we are going to probably drink a little bit more during a barbecue, you need to limit dessert to either just fruit, or another obstacle would be homemade popsicles. So you can go ahead and make popsicles before you come. The reason we say homemade is because we can keep the calorie under control, because popsicles can be pretty calorie dense. for what you're getting out of it. So a simple recipe is just like take the GCP BCAAs, mix it with some water, put them in the freezer, put some sticks inside of them like a popsicle tray, and you'll have an awesome BCAA treat that tastes pretty good, really, like because we have the different flavors. You can make different flavors of them. But fruit's another big thing to do. You know, you're eating fruit. That's your dessert for the trip. You know, we're in low carb diets, right? So GCP, we believe in low carb diets, especially for fat loss, and most people that are maintaining year round. So for a lot of people, having excess fruit is their treat because they don't get as much fruit in their daily diet because they only have 20% carbs max. Or if they're on keto, they don't get a lot in general. So yeah, when you're thinking about barbecues in general, just make sure that you're being smart about eating plenty of food, eat fruits, stay away from desserts if you plan on drinking.
Okay, so the next situation that we're going to go through is vacations. It feels like every week half the class are going on vacation. So what are some strategies we can do to conquer vacations?
Yeah, I mean, that's our biggest obstacle probably out of all in the summer is vacations because people disappear from us for a couple weeks. And one is hard to get them focused because they're completely away from us. And the other part is hard to get them restarted when they come back. So there's some obstacles alone that we work with vacations. So first thing is alcohol. We're going to talk about alcohol first because it's usually the biggest thing for all of them. You're going to drink on vacation, most likely. If you're somebody that drinks, you're probably going to drink on vacation. So let's just put some rules to what that looks like. So number one rule is no drinking until 4 p.m. And I know for a lot of you guys that are big drinkers, like, wait, that's what I went on vacation for. Yeah, that's an obstacle. In a sense, we call that alcoholic. Not to be mean or anything, but like you can avoid alcohol for the first part of the day. Get out, move, do other things. You don't need to start drinking at 10 a.m. And I'm about to have a wedding that's all-inclusive resort wedding. And I know my brother-in-law is going to grab, and if he's listening to this, he's going to grab a beer probably at 10 a.m. and start drinking. So I know that as a thing. So it does happen for that. So just put rules to that. I'm not going to start drinking until 4 p.m. Rule 2 is 2 drink limit, right? So I'm only going to drink 2 drinks. I'm having them in the evening, and then I'm going to move from that over to water. The fact is, when you're on vacation, you're probably on vacation for 3 to 5 days. You don't need to hammer alcohol day after day after day after day, right? First of all, we're not getting any younger. Our body doesn't recover the way it used to. We're not like young kids just out binge drinking for a summer vacation or something of that nature. We're not trying to do that either. You're around other adults. You have your kids around most likely. We don't need to be getting hammered while we're on vacation. Just have a couple drinks, right? Doesn't matter what you really choose for a couple drinks. And then from there, move on to water. Like drink water. You're a responsible adult. You have specific goals. Follow those goals. Number 3 is be active on your vacation. Walking as much as possible, moving around, trying not to sit all day long. Even if you're on a beach, cool. Go for a beach walk every hour, right? A 10-minute beach walk. So you're just walking for 10 minutes out of an hour. You get 50 minutes of still chilling on the beach. So go ahead and walk throughout the day, move around. If you guys have other plans, it's awesome. Try to move as much as possible. That's not really a food intake thing, but like on vacation, you can be very smart with movement. That'll help out a ton. So food, you're going to eat out a lot at almost all the time, usually on vacation. So either if you're an all-inclusive, you're eating a ton of like, you can have as much food as you want, or if you're going out to eat every night, you're going to eat out a lot. So when we talk about traveling for eating, we talk about eating mainly meat as much as possible. Eating protein. So we're eating steaks, chickens, so beef, chicken, pork, something of that nature. Make that the bulk of your meal because it's going to make you super full. We're not asking you to be carnivore. I'm not asking you to be meat-only diet. But all I'm trying to do is like, let's take advantage of the meals that we can fill ourselves up more so we don't spend so many calories. Remember, this is about events that we're talking about. This is about experiences more than it's about food. But we put so much food that wraps around it that we're sick by the end of our vacation, and we don't even want to do anything by day 3 of the vacation because we've been eating so bad and drinking so much. So first of all, let's just eat meat. We won't feel bad. We won't have to eat near as much of it. It'll be the same expense as buying other stuff, but you don't have to worry about buying it 3 times a day because you might be full from eating twice a day. So eat as much meat. No bread on the table. Drink only water, no soda. So we're not drinking our calories. The only way you're going to drink your calories during this trip is most likely via alcohol. No chips and salsa, and no carbs is the main part of the meal. So when we say that, no carbs is the main part of the meal, means that if I'm having a steak, I don't need to get a side of baked potatoes. I don't need to get a side of fruit. I don't need to get fries and other things like that. So save the carbs for the things that you never get at home. So let's say you go out to a meal, you go to a place that you could never eat again. Like that's totally fine to get a little bit of carbs and indulge then. Or if you're going to go buy a food truck that you could never get, like a Cuban sandwich. You know, you're in Miami, you can never get a Cuban sandwich that tastes like this. Cool. Like, take advantage of the carbs in that moment. But don't just have carbs for things you can have every day, like regular fries or candy that you can't get anywhere else. So save those carbs for only those moments. That way you don't have to worry about them at the meals. We just get rid of them at the meals and save them for more important carb things on your trip. Dessert. With any dessert, we have to make a decision before the day starts. It's either you get dessert or alcohol. You don't get both. So pick your poison when it comes to these. And that is a pun intended, because both of them technically are a poison to our body, right? So when you think about that, like, we want to avoid, we got to pick one or the other. You don't get it completely indulged, because if you do, you can come back 10 pounds heavier after 5 days and you're going to have a heart attack. You're like, oh, but I wanted to be free. And then you come back and you beat yourself up for weeks. I don't understand why that's worth it. It's not worth it, realistically. So, like, quit thinking that way. You don't have to think all or nothing. You've got really good choices. You got to eat great meat. Somebody else cooked it for you. You get good fruit, tasty things like that. Take advantage of those things and don't go crazy on the other stuff. So if you do, let's say you go to a place that has amazing desserts, once in a lifetime opportunity, you don't have to eat the entire dessert. Split it between 3 or 4 people. So you guys are just each taking a fork or 2 of it. So you get the taste, you still get the sensation of it, but you're not hammering in an extra 200 to 500 calories. If you're lucky, some desserts will be 1,000 calories. So you're going to make more, you're going to put on more body fat in a week than you put on in the last 3 months if you're not careful with that.
All right, so the next situation that we're going to go over is graduations. I know quite a few of our clients have had kids that are graduating or know people that are graduating. So graduations or like get-togethers around graduations, how would we handle those?
Yeah, and graduations, really, they start all the way in early May from people graduating college. And, you know, where I went to school, like, it would take almost until the end of June to get past all the graduations, because nobody wanted to have them on the same weekend so that they could go to each other's graduation. So it lasts for a good couple months. So they are something to pay attention to. So alcohol, the first one, this is the one time I can say you don't have to drink at a graduation. You know, they're not an area where people are like expecting you to drink. You know, it's somebody else's event. It's some young kid's event. You don't need to be getting sloshed at somebody's young person's event. So this one of those days where I would just say, like, when you're going to a graduation, it's alcohol free. I'm not even going to make that choice of alcohol. I'm going to make up for it in a different way, but we're not going to do alcohol at all. From there, the meals, stick to meat only. Most graduation food is super carby. So it's also a great idea to eat before you go. So if you go to a graduation, you don't have to eat at the graduation. Nobody's watching if you eat at the graduation, okay? So it's okay to go ahead and eat food before I go, get a good healthy meal before I go. I maybe snack around on a fruit plate while I'm there if I really feel like I need to grab something. But outside of that, like, there's a lot of just carb-based foods usually. It's a lot of plant-based foods. So let's go ahead and avoid eating if you can. It's also you can control. Like, you just have to get a small plate. If you do need to get the smallest plate you can possibly get, because they usually have the small little dessert plate there. Take the small little dessert plate and just eat off of that. Eat a bigger meal when you get home or before you go. The one thing that most people want to eat at a graduation is cake. Totally fine. We got rid of the alcohol, so we can go ahead and have some cake. So on this one, you can go ahead and indulge a little bit. But if you're going to multiple graduations over the next week or 2 weeks, you got to be smart about how much cake you eat, right? So we don't need to eat the biggest slice. If I have 3 graduations come up the next 2 weeks, I probably need to have a little slice of cake at each one. Totally fine. But let's not eat a giant piece of cake or 2 pieces of cake at each one, because that's going to make up a huge amount of calories in your diet. So the smallest piece you can get away with, you know, they don't usually cut them huge at graduations because they're expecting a lot of people to be there. So they're not going to be the biggest cuts of cake in general. And don't take the corner piece of the cake. And this is me, like, I'm the person that takes the corner piece of the cake. I love frosting, but you're having cake, not frosting, right? So the idea is, like, let's avoid that component, especially eating multiple cakes a week or over the next couple weeks. So let's just avoid the cake. So yeah, for graduations, no alcohol, eat the cake if you want to, and to pick the meal based on your schedule, but you can eat mainly meat at those.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to go over is outdoor events. You know, the weather's great, lots of things we can do outside, so this includes things like concerts, festivals, sporting events, stuff like that. How can we go about eating healthy when we're going out to these events?
Obviously, each event's different. We're going to kind of pick this as a festival or something that we can bring our own stuff to. So that's kind of how we're kind of treating this one. So to a lot of them, you can bring your own alcohol, right? If you go to Ravinia, you can bring your own alcohol with you. So when you bring your own alcohol, try to go with low calorie if you can. We talked about that vodka electrolyte drink is a great option here. You can get low calorie beers. Do whatever you can to have as little sugar as possible in your alcohol. This is normally a pretty easy time that you don't have to drink. Nobody's really paying attention to you if you're drinking. The event is actually the fun part. So people aren't really worried too much about what each other is drinking. So if you just want to drink water, it's a great time to do that as well. But if you do choose alcohol, let's go as low calorie as possible. Snacks, it's a great time to pack your own snacks. You can usually bring them to almost every event you go to or festival you go to. Stack up on like beef jerky, beef sticks, pork rinds, carnivore crisps, RX bars, so protein-based things. If you bring a cooler with you, it's awesome to even stack in some baby carrots, grapes, berries, and other easy finger foods. And then meat and cheese is another great option if you have the ability to bring a cooler with you. There's a lot of good things that you can choose in there. If you're choosing the cheese, just try to go with a little bit harder block cheese than the processed cheese. Sweets, this is really where the festival part comes in. Let's say we're going to a festival more than like a concert or an event. So at these, you're going to have those awesome little booths or whatever that are going to serve the best ice cream in the world, right? Funnel cakes, donuts, all this stuff that's like the fried stuff that you can never have again or never have normally. Totally fine. That's an enjoyable part of that experience. But we're going to be smart. If we're going to do this, we're probably not going to have alcohol for the day, and I'm probably not going to have much of a meal. This is going to be my snack and sweet. The only thing I could say with your sweets is I wouldn't mind putting a little protein together with it, because if you had some protein around that time, like a big turkey leg at a festival or something, like the cool part about that is it helps keep insulin in check because of the protein. So that would be good to start with that, and then have this funnel cake after it. So you know what's gonna happen. So like be planning for it ahead of time. Like I'm going to a festival tonight. I'm probably gonna have some mini donuts, so I'm not gonna have carbs for the day. You can plan ahead. That you didn't all of a sudden just like, oh, I'm gonna go to a festival this afternoon. You've thought about that for a few days. So go ahead and plan for that. Try to keep your quantity lower. So you may be splitting treats with others. So if you get a mini donut, you don't have to eat the whole bag yourself. Maybe split that with multiple people. And we can try different treats, right? You can try multiple different treats at the place. Make sure you drink cold water when eating treats. This quenches the thirst and helps you eat less. Not ice cold water, but just cooler water. We don't want lukewarm water. Alcohol is a bad mixture as it will make you want to eat more. So that's another reason why we don't want to drink alcohol while we're having a lot of these sweets, because you'll lose your inhibitions and stuff with it and you'll want to drink more. So let's go ahead and try to keep the alcohol to a minimum when you're doing that. So if you're going to a festival or any of these events, like bring your own foods if you can, bring your own alcohols, eat plenty of meat, and then enjoy the treats. Just be smart about how much you're eating.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is boating. I know like when we go on boats, it's really easy to just pack a bunch of snacks and throw a bunch of things in there. In a cooler, things like that. So how can we kind of have some strategies to eat healthy when we're boating or doing things like that?
Yeah, I mean, the first one with boating is alcohol. Usually, it's like the number one thing. So going out on the boat in the summer is big for most people, and most people drink a lot when they're out boating. So first thing is be the captain of the ship, right? If you're the captain of the ship, you're most likely not going to drink very much, or you're not going to drink at all, one of the two options. So if you're allowed to be the captain of the ship, it instantly brings your alcohol level down. So that's one thing. Not everybody can do that, right? But that is an option. Like if you just have somebody else's boat and you're like, yeah, you can drive it, like that gives you an option. Mix drinks for everyone before you go, and make cocktails. Make the cocktails of vodka and BCAAs or electrolytes that we talked about. So like you can mix a vodka and a BCAA drink or a vodka and an electrolyte drink. Just little ways to add a little nutrients to it. Keep beer to low calorie as much as possible, and just don't do any sugary drinks. Less sugar as possible. For snacks, make sure you're snacking mainly on meats and protein on the boat. So most people on their boat are going to take a cooler with them. So you can bring meat and cheeses. That's a great option there. You're probably not going to eat a steak on a boat, so it's going to be more of those finger food kind of meats. But beef jerky is another great option. Beef sticks are a great option. This will get you to drink less because you won't be so hungry. So you're going to when you're really hungry, we have a tendency to fill that with something. And so we're going to fill that with alcohol a lot of times. So like you'll drink less because you're more full. No chips or salty things. So when you mix alcohol with salty things, you have a desire to eat more salty things because you're dehydrated and your body's craving that salt, and so it's going to ask for more. So try to keep it actually more to the sweet side of things if you're going to do it than the salty side of things. Fruit is a great option. You can put that in the cooler as well. Having a thing of cut up watermelon would be great. Grapes are an easy one to take with you as well. Drinking an electrolyte or two while on the boat is great for your skin recovery and keep you hydrated. So take a couple packets. We have our element packets. They're super easy to take with you out there. Drink, a bottle of that. Have a whole bottle of that ready to go while you're drinking alcohol. So you can sip on that too. It's going to be great for recovery for the next day. It's going to help actually reduce sunburn because it's good for the skin too. Now, it's not going to stop sunburn, but it'll just help reduce it.
All right, and then the last situation that we're going to go over is ice cream trips with the family. Now, this is perfect time of year for that. It's ice cream season, warm weather out. So how can we make sure we're eating healthy and staying on track even when we're going on to those trips with our family?
Yeah, I mean, this is a hard one for me personally because me and Erica love to go have Cold Stone ice cream. So it's been a hard one, especially if you have kids. I know this is a big, probably even harder than it is for the adults. So we just have to have some strategies. So when I'm going there, strategy number one is the smallest bowl I can possibly have, and don't have a cone because a cone is pure carbohydrates. So let's get rid of that part and let's have it in a bowl, but the smallest bowl I can get away with. That's strategy number one. Strategy number two, get something else on the menu that's not ice cream, right? So they might have an iced drink, like an iced mocha or some type of coffee-based drink. Maybe you can get an iced drink that'll give you the same feeling. I'm out with the family, I'm doing something, but I can reduce my calories by a ton. Now you gotta be smart. Some of those things have a ton of calories in them as well, but you could get some type of iced drink that might help out. Trying to think, like there might be popsicles on the menu as well, or something of that nature that you could get this lower calorie. Strategy three, don't get ice cream at the place with your family, but promise yourself a treat when you get home, like a BCAA popsicle or a Yasso bar, or simple low-calorie things you can do at home. But I'm not going to get it while I'm with the family. We're going to go get it, and we'll come back to the house. We're going to watch a movie, but I'm going to have a treat of my own that I can have in my own house. I can have some smart popcorn instead, right? Strategy number four, which is my favorite strategy, me and Erica do this one a lot when we have that craving, is we get snow cones instead. Because snow cones are a lot lower calorie. You can get the sugar-free ones as well when you're out and about. They give you a ton of it. You feel full when you're done. So I really love going the snow cone route instead. It gives me that same feeling of summer, but I don't have to worry about eating all the calories.
Okay, so those are the situations that we're going to go over. We went through all of them. So what is your call to action for our listeners today to kind of put these strategies into action and make sure that we can stay on track over the next few months here in the summer?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is like you got to look at your goals. Have you looked at your goals since the beginning of the year? What are the things you want to accomplish over the summer? You have to write them down and know that I have a plan to achieve them. And giving up for the summer is not a plan to achieve them. And you don't want to have to recover from that and make that difference up from September to November, because that's only 2 months. And then you're going right in the winter season, or 3 months. Then you're only going right back into the holiday season, right? And then you're back into it. And this is this dirty cycle if we don't get past it. So you just can't give up for 3 months of the year. So really think about what you want to accomplish over the next 12 weeks, and what you're going to. So first, I usually think about what do I want to accomplish over the next 6 months, because we have about 6 months left of the year, and then I'll break that down to what I want to accomplish over the next 12 weeks, which would be about the summertime. All the tips I gave above, for the most part, can be used in every single situation. So every situation we talked about, you can use one of those strategies throughout. So look at that list, and don't make any excuses for the summer. Pick a few strategies that you really enjoy, like maybe some of the alcohol strategies we have. Pick some fruit strategies and eat lots and lots of meat this summer, and you'll do really, really good and come out with some good changes. As I told my nutrition group the other day, you do have to behave this summer. You do. There's no choice. You have to if you want to achieve your goals. So, most people want big changes in their physique, and they have to do the work to get those big changes. But you don't have to stop having great experiences. So everything that we talked about, all the things that we talked about today, were experiences that I want to do. But those experiences, for some reason, we attach food completely around them. But that's on us. That's on nobody else. We get the choice if we're going to attach that to that. Choose the experience. I want to spend time with these people. I want to do fun things. I don't have to be attached to food while I do it. It's totally fine to have those feelings. You guys are going to do awesome. Just get focused. Listen to this podcast a couple times. Write down some strategies. All of our notes are in the YouTube link and stuff, so you can go ahead and read those and look at that. I think we will have a blog posted on our website about this as well. So lots of strategy there. Use them, follow through, and if you guys need any help with any coaching or anything, and we're here all summer long to help coach with it.
So like I mentioned before, guys, we all struggle with healthy eating during the summer months. But like Trevor just described, the biggest thing that we can do to make sure that we're staying on track is to have a plan and be prepared so that when the situation comes, we know what to do and how to respond to it. I hope you guys did enjoy this discussion today about today's topic. Remember, the best time to start living healthier is today, so make sure to take action on the steps that we gave you right away. If you have enjoyed today's episode, please give us a review. You can do that on Spotify, or you can do a written review on Apple. Be sure to subscribe on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anything that you're listening to on YouTube. And follow us on social media to stay up to date on upcoming episodes and topics and new episodes that we release. If you have any ideas for topics you would like us to discuss, let us know. You can either leave a comment, send us an email, or message us on social media. Thanks again for listening, and I hope you'll join us for the next episode of The Process of Fat Loss.
All right, guys, there's no time to change like right now, so let's go ahead and get after it this summer.